Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me here on this blessed Wednesday. I am having some folks over for company tonight and I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also very glad to have you here with me here this afternoon for this live review of Star Wars Unlimited. Now, that's an overlay. I don't actually have a box here. I mean, I could act like I do. No, that's just a little weird. But anyway, we're talking about Star Wars Unlimited today. Now, here's the thing. I have not taken the plunge and purchased a whole mess of things for this collectible card game or trading card game or living card game, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a collectible card game. Anyway, I also haven't looked into it very much because in the past I have been very susceptible to the collectible card game bug, trading card game bug, living card game bug, and I'm very much to it right now. I just don't want to get too close to it. So this review is central upon just the two-player starter pack that you can purchase, I think, almost wherever you purchased card games at this point in time. I haven't bought any extra booster packs. I haven't bought anything else. This was actually a review copy or part of a review copy that was sent to the Dice Tower, and Tom gave me basically half of it. Just enough for me to play the game. And he taught me how to play the game at Dice Tower West and said, why don't you take this and do a review on it? And so that's what I'm going to do. But it's just about the starter decks. Now, Tom, on the other hand, if you go over to the Dice Tower, you can check out their review of it. I believe they've already done a review of it. And they went kind of a lot further down that path than I already have. So you can go check that out for a little bit more of an in-depth. This is just going to be about the starter decks. All right, so with that having been said, let's say hello to some people. Eric Bushman, thank you for being here. Wow, magic. On the road again. Can't wait to get on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. Matthew Vincent is here. Hola, hola, hello, hello. TCG hotline, stop the addiction. Exactly. Howdy, howdy. David Brownlee is here. Thank you for being here, David. I appreciate it. Now, one of the things that I do want to say right off the bat is that one of the things that Tom did pass along was, well, it was already on it, actually, these little deck protectors. These are not in the two-player starter pack. So these are extra that they were sent. So I do want to make sure that that's clear. But I believe those are the only things that I'm using here that are not in the starter pack. So take that for what it's worth. All right. Oh, Magic the Gathering? I thought it was TI4. No, neither. It's Star Wars Unlimited. Guys, stop confusing people in the chat. I have to answer all of those questions later on. You guys have a blast and saying whatever you want to in the chat, and then I have to clean up the mess afterwards. So help me out a little bit, okay? I'm just joking. You guys say whatever you want. You guys figure it out. You guys confuse me half the time anyway, and I don't care. So it's all right. No problems at all. David Brownlee here. Eric is here. Matthew's here. Three's a crowd. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Actually, 4 if you count me. So what is this? It's basically a two-player card game. So you're going to take your deck that you have either just picked up in a starter pack, like these two are, or you do have the option to build your decks, to construct your decks, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on after I've kind of explained the how the game plays and all of that kind of stuff, and the winning conditions and all that kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I do have my handy dandy Spark of the Rebellion rulebook right here next to us. There are some little cardboard counters that come in the pack as well. Very chintzy cardboard counters. looking at you, Fantasy Flight. You can afford better than that. But anyway, so let's get down to the table. TI4, where's my sticker? You don't count, sorry. Oh, okay. That's okay. That's okay. That you cut me deep, Shrek, but that's okay. I'm all right. Chaz Brown is here. Is the gameplay close to the deck building game? You know, it's been so long since I've played the deck building game. I would not be able to say. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of a round, you know, a couple of rounds of play here during the game explanation, and you can make that determination. But let's go ahead and talk about, first of all, some of the different cards that are in the deck, and you'll be able to, so we'll talk about the cards first, and then after everything else, after that, we'll get into round structure. And then after that, we'll do a couple of rounds of play so that you guys can kind of understand what's going on. And then we'll do that. All right, so let's go ahead and get down to the table here. Oh, I do need to take that off, don't I? So let's do that. And then we will show you some things. All right, so here is a representation of some of the cards that are in the game. All right, so you've got, first of all, you have space units, which are central right here. You have this Alliance X-Wing, and then you also have a wing leader underneath it. Notice that one of the things that I want to point out is that the deployment cost up at the top is different. So basically, this is just a fighter, you know, and it can deal out 2 damage, and it can take 3 damage before it's knocked out and removed from play. This wing leader, however, is a unit, and it's a space unit, and it takes 2, but it only takes 1 to knock out. That's how much defense it has. But it also has this special ability here, wherever when we play it, we can give 2 experience tokens to another friendly rebel unit. That's a pretty cool thing. Experience tokens are basically right over here, and they're cards that you add to a unit. It gives them +1 attack and +1 defense. So whenever you put a wing leader out, if you already had an X-Wing out there, you could give it +1/+1, make it a 3/4 instead of just a 2/3. But that's the little thing that is noticeable there. So up at the top, you'll notice, and I kind of already pointed it out, that it does say that this is a unit, and it goes into the space area of the board. So you will have 2 basic arenas that units can fight in. You have space units, and then you also have ground units. So understand that. These are space units. Over here are what ground units are going to look like. Very similar to the space units, except it says ground up there instead of space. So you'll have areas that tell you how much damage it's going to do, how much damage it can take before it's removed from play. And there are special keywords. For example, this particular trooper is a sentinel, which means that units that are in the same arena of combat, ground, have to attack this guy first before they can go and attack your base, which is how you win the game. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But some other, you might recognize C-3PO here. He's 1/4, not so high on attack, pretty decent on defense, but whenever he's played, or if he is on the attack, not being attacked, choose a number, then look at the top card of your deck. If it is cost is the chosen number, you may reveal and draw it. Otherwise, leave it on top of your deck. So that's a pretty cool thing that you can go through your deck a little bit and ferret out some more cards to play. You don't have to wait for the regroup phase. Then you also have 2 other kinds of cards. You have event cards like these right here. Vanquish, where you can simply defeat a non-leader unit, which means that you can make your opponent put that non-leader unit back up into their discard pile. This one says return a non-leader unit to its owner's hand. So there's a couple of different things here. There are different kinds of keywords that are also used in the deck. And then you also have upgrades. Now, upgrades are going to be added to units to make them stronger. So, for example, this one will give a unit +0 attack and +3 defense. And that's what Resilient does. So if I wanted to, I could add Resilient to this Cloud City Wing Guard, and that would make him a 2 for attack. Sorry about that. That would make him a 2 for attack because it's +0 attack, but it would make him a 7 for defense, which is pretty stinking beefy for this game. So if I wanted to, I could add that upgrade to the unit over there and make it a little bit tougher. So those are the different kinds of cards that you're going to be in the deck. You also have leaders, and they start basically landscape out here on the table. Vader is the one that is for the dark side starter deck, and Luke is the one for the light side. And so it has some different actions that are here. You have an action ability, which basically takes an action in order to use it. Some abilities don't take an action. And then you also have an epic action. This one specifically for your leader simply means that if you control 6 or more resources, which will be in this area right down here, then you can deploy this leader. So you basically flip him over and he will become a character in your ground unit. And of course, Luke is pretty tough. But anyway, until that happens, he basically stays right here as your leader. And he has an action ability that you can use during the course of your turn. Vader has the same kind of stuff. Not the exact same, but the same basic kinds of things for leaders here. Your base is what's going to determine how long it takes you to get knocked out. It has 30 defense, and once it has taken, if your opponent takes your base out, they win. If you take your opponent's base out, you win. That's basically the gist of it. So let's go ahead and get back to this little thing right here. We'll put this down, and we'll also go, let me set this back up here. These 6 cards were in my hand at the start of the game. Resilient was just about halfway down my deck, so I'll put that back there like that. So on setup, you're basically going to put your base out and your leader out, and they start set up already. We'll go down here like this. That might be better for you. Boom. All right, so you've got Vader set out as your leader, and you also have the Death Star Command Center set up as your base as the bad guys. You'll take a hand of 6 cards, like so, but then you have to choose 2 of them to start as resources for the game so that you actually have something to do at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to take these 2 and make these resources like so. And now we are ready to begin the game. Setup is already done. So basically what you're going to have here in the starter decks is you're going to have a base, you're going to have a leader, and then you're going to have a deck of 50 more cards. All right, and that's basically the gist of what the game is going to have for you. When you're constructing your decks, you have to have a deck of 50 cards, plus 1 leader, plus 1 base. And that's what you play the game with. Whoever knocks out the opponent's base first, scores 30 hit points on the base, is the winner. So that's pretty much set up. Round structure is divided up into 2 phases. You have a action phase where you're going to be able to play cards from your hand, attack with your units, use action abilities like the one that the leader has. You can also take the initiative. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you can also pass. The cool thing about this game is that when you pass, you're not actually out of the round. You can come back in and do something else later on. So you can kind of wait for your opponent to do things if you want to. There are, of course, different situations where that might not be a good idea. It might be a great idea. You have to make that determination. After each player is done with the action phase, we'll go to a regroup phase where we'll draw more cards, and we can choose to put a card from our hand into play as a resource, and then ready all exhausted cards that are in play out here. It's important to note that when you do deploy a ground unit or a space unit, unless the card says that it comes in active, that you have to put it into play exhausted, or basically turned sideways, tapped, whatever you want to call it, and so forth and so on. One of the cool things that I do want to show here is that these little mats that come with the starter sets actually have all of this set up for you. So that you have it all in front of you and ready to go. So your round structure and all of this is basically there. You do need to read the rules, but it has referencing for keywords and all of that kind of stuff as well. And it has everything delineated for you as far as your space units, ground units, and resources as well. So it's a really cool thing that they've included to help you learn how to play the game. I can definitely see that this will probably go away as soon as I am, or as soon as you are, familiar with where everything goes and how the game works and all of that kind of stuff. But it's cool that they included it like this, and all of the basic rules are here on the sheet for you. So it helps you a little bit faster learn how to play the game. Go back down to the table here and we'll get started with our rounds. Okay, so you have resources down here. Once you play a card down into your resources, that's what it's going to be for the rest of the game. I believe there may be some cards that are events that might allow you to take cards out of your resource, but generally speaking, once you place a resource down here, you're basically foregoing using that card in the future, and it is just a resource for you at this point. So if I want to play a card out of my hand, then I have to pay the resource value of the card, and of course, it's going to come into play exhausted. So if I want to, I can play this Alliance X-Wing in my space unit area because it is a space unit, and it's going to come in exhausted, but I have to use 2 resources in order to do that. So now that's the end of my turn. Now it becomes your guys' turn. So if we look at your hand, you have an event here that says open fire. It says deal 4 damage to a unit. You have a Viper probe droid. You also have a recruit, which is an event, but it allows you to search your deck to look for a unit, reveal it, and draw it. So that's possible. Then you also have an Imperial Interceptor as well. So it depends on what you would want to do here. Maybe we want to look for a specific group. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just pay 1 for this event, and that's going to spend 1 of our resources. Then you're going to be able to draw the top 5 cards of your deck, search for a unit, and reveal it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, well, we have exactly 2 units. We have an Imperial Interceptor, and then we also have Grand Moff Tarkin. Let's go ahead and take him and put it in our group. We've revealed it, and then we can put these on the bottom of our deck in a random order. So we're just going to go ahead and shuffle them up, and that will be put on the bottom of our deck just like that. Now it comes back to my turn, and I'm going to be able to if I had the resources, I could play another person out on the table. But since I don't have any more resources to play, I could possibly use this action, but it does cost a resource for me to do it. Give a shield token to a rebel unit that you played this phase. So I could, if I had more resources, I could put a shield token over here on this Alliance X-Wing, which basically means that if he takes any damage, I can lose this card instead of losing him if it would knock him out. But since I don't have any resources to play, I'm going to claim the initiative. Now, when you claim the initiative, you're done. That's the last thing you can do for the round, but it ensures that you go first next turn. So that's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm all done. So now it comes back to the player over here. All of these cost too much. I have not enough resources, so I'm just going to pass over here. And since I'm already passed, that ends the round. Now, during the regroup phase, we're first of all both going to draw 2 cards. This person will draw 2 cards as well. And now we can choose to put a card into play as face down as a resource. So I think I am going to do that. I'm going to put this card face down as a resource. And then after you've done all that, you are basically going to ready all exhausted cards. So now my Alliance X-Wing is ready to go. And these people over here are going to do the same thing. Let's see, which one of these do we want to put? No. I think we're going to put, oh, good night. I think we're going to put this one down as a resource, like so, because remember, we're trying to get to where Vader can come out, so we have to get 6 resources out here as quickly as possible. And then that will be it for them. These will refresh. Nothing out here needs to refresh. And I have the initiative, so now it's my turn to go next. We're going to go ahead and put, we're going to choose to use 3, and we're going to put that Cloud City Guard right down here. But remember, he is coming in exhausted, and that's the end of my turn. Goes to the dark side player, and they have 3 as well. All right, we're just going to be nasty about it. We're going to spend 3 to play a tactic, deal 4 damage to a unit. So we're going to deal 4 damage. Even though this guy is here, he can still be attacked. And because he's a sentinel, he still has to be attacked first before you can attack here. So we want to get him out of the way. We don't like sentinels. He only has 4 damage, 4 health rather. So dealing 4 damage will knock him out. So that kind of stinks. That was kind of a jerky move, guys. Thanks for that, though. It's pretty much in line with what Eric would do, I think, anyway. So it's all right. So that ends that turn. Now it comes back to my turn. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust my Alliance X-Wing. That's going to do 2 damage to the command center. So we take 2 of these little markers here and we put it out there denoting that we have done 2 damage to the command center. Then it comes back to your guys' turn, and you are going to claim you don't have any more, you don't have any units that you can attack with, you don't have any more resources to do anything with, so you're simply going to claim the initiative. I also don't have anything to do, so I'm going to pass. Both of us have passed. During the regroup phase, we draw 2 more resources, draw 2 more cards. I'm going to add a resource face down. You guys will do the same. Yeah, we're going to keep that in hand. That's just too cool to get rid of. So we're going to put that one here. I got to show you this card because it's a pretty cool card for the dark side. But anyway, oh, did my phone freeze up on me? No. Anyway, I'll show it out this way. So this one is, I am your father. So you can use this card to deal 7 damage to an enemy unit unless its controller says no. If they do, draw 3 cards. So you can basically say, I'm going to do 7 damage to one of your characters unless you say no. Then you get to draw 3 cards instead of dealing that damage. But that's in your hand now. So that's pretty cool. So this will write all of our resources right. Now you guys are the first one. So you have 4. Let's go with, yep, we're going to go ahead and play 4. We're going to put Grand Moff Tarkin out here. That's all 4 of your resources, but it says when played, search the top 5 cards of your deck for up to 2 Imperial cards, reveal them, and draw them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So which one of these are Imperials? Well, I haven't actually memorized all of those, so I'm pretty sure. Bum, 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 bum. And come on, they've got to have that in here, right? Of course they do. Aspect icons, all right. Vigilance, aggression, heroism, villainy. Well, Imperial isn't actually one of these things. It is one of the keywords that are in here. So right here it says Imperial Vehicle Fighter. So that's going to be one card that we draw up into our hand. And Imperial Admiral Piet. That's going to come into our hand. The rest of these, it says, get put on the bottom of your deck in a random order. So we're going to shuffle them up. And they go back to the bottom of the deck. So he came out. And that was your turn. It is now my turn. I can put something else out. So I'm going to go with 3. And we're going to put a Fleet Lieutenant out here. And that will be my turn. So now it comes back to you. You don't have any resources. So you're going to claim the initiative. And then it'll come back to me. I'm going to hit you guys for 2 more. So this will come out here like that. And then I only have 1 left. I'm going to go ahead and use this to do the Skywalker action and give some shields to this Alliance X-Wing. And then I'm going to pass because you guys already claimed the initiative. That just lets me go until I pass as well. I'm going to draw 2 cards in the regroup phase. And I'm going to put 1 as a unit, as a resource. You guys will do the same thing. And we'll put him down as a resource like that. Then you guys have 5. We have 5 as well. Everything refreshes. And it would be your guys' turn again. And that's how the game would continue until, like we said earlier, one opponent's base is knocked out or the others, whomever is able to knock out their opponent's base first, wins. And that's pretty much that as far as that is concerned. Let me go back up here to the top and we will talk about the thing here. Is gameplay, really? Those are the finished cards. They look prototype. Wow. Well, that's interesting. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, Eric. Sorry, I don't mean to sound negative, Nettie, but Raphael Pabon, they're good quality though, built-wise. Hyperspace versions look way better. I'd hope so. It wouldn't take much to look better. David Brownlee says, listening while I disassemble a bed. Did Sam just say Grandma Tarkin? No, I didn't. I said Grand Moff Tarkin. But I understand how you heard Grandma Tarkin. That's funny. Thankfully, Magic the Gathering already consumes any TCG money I'd have, Joker S says. Matthew Vincent, at one point in my life, I thought the TIE Fighters were called that because they looked like bow ties. See, Matthew, you and I think we were cut from the same cloth. Same thing here, bud. Fran Tarkenton is my favorite character. Imperial is a trait like Rebel. Yes, thank you, Raphael. Can you counter I Am Your Father with paternity suit? DNA test. No, you can't, David. Sorry. When you play the Lieutenant, you can attack with the X-Wing plus 2 damage since it is a Rebel. When you play the Lieutenant, you can attack with the X-Wing. Oh, yes, when played. I'm sorry, I didn't do that correctly. I apologize. So plus 2 damage since it is a Rebel. So yeah, that would have happened anyway. So I would have done an additional 2 damage with that. So it's 1, 2. So we'll put, see, 4 plus 2 is 6. So we will do this. There we go. So it would have been like that at the end of the turn. You're correct. Thank you. After the hype and resurgence of TCGs with lore counter competition, I really expected this IP to be something. I was wrong. That's interesting. The gameplay is great, though, and it has been a success. I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Oh, Eric. Come on. You can have your opinion, brother. No worries at all. All right. Here's the thing. I am not a TCG person or a CCG person or anything like that. This is kind of my final thoughts. We'll get into my pros and cons here in a little bit. I am not a TCG person. I am not the demographic that this game is being pointed at or leveled at or anything like that. But I do have to say, I really had a fun time playing this game. Now, going back real quick, well, not yet. I'll get there. The gameplay is really fun. It's really fast. It's not difficult at all. And I think part of that difficulty is probably whisked away by the sheets that come with the starter pack. Having the round structure out here, having all of the reference words out here, having the setup right here, all here, I don't have to use this, pretty much. I mean, you got to read through it, but let's take a look at this real quick. It is not, first of all, look how the size of it. Second of all, the print is pretty large, so there isn't a whole lot of stuff on this. More than half, well, 2/3 of the pages are illustrations. There's not a whole lot of text on these things at all. And once you get to this 16 of these little small pages in, now you're talking about other rules and things that you don't necessarily need to worry about right now as you're playing the game. So you can learn how to play the game before you know any of that other stuff, which really just kind of clouds you up at the beginning anyway. So I love the fact, one of the things that I really love about this starter deck is that it leads you so quickly into playing the game, and you don't have a chance really to get bound up in all of the extra stuff that's going to come later on down the road. You can just enjoy the game almost immediately after you open the pack. And I think that's really cool. Really, really cool. I remember when you bought a CGG and you had to read this little, about a 1/4 inch thick piece of book that was smaller than this. It was about like that. It fit inside one of these little sleeve boxes. And you had to read through that thing backwards and forwards about 4 times before you really got a good understanding of how to play the game. And they've done away with all of that. And I think that's really cool. Now, is that the same experience that everybody's had with CCGs? No, probably not. But that's been my experience with them. Okay, and as you saw when I was going through and doing things, I didn't make all the best decisions, and I forgot to use the Fleet Lieutenant's ability and all of that kind of stuff. So again, like I said, I'm not a CCGer, I'm not a TCGer, but I really did enjoy playing this game. And I probably would have been a little bit more Johnny on the spot with these abilities had I not also been trying to teach you how to play the game, or at least express or explain how to play the game while I was playing. But you get the idea, right? I think there's a lot of cool stuff about it. The last Star Wars game that I was really invested in was the Decipher CCG. Back where you had planets and locations and stacks of starships or stacks of characters going in and all that kind of stuff. That's the last time I was really invested in a Star Wars game. And I just have not been really drawn to them ever since. But this one, I've really enjoyed the starter sets. I really enjoyed the starter set a lot. But let's go ahead and get to my pros and cons after we read a little bit here. Yeah, no problem. Different taste, but commercially it has been successful for FFG. Sorry I'm late, Luke. No worries. You just missed the entire explanation of how to play the game. So not much. Steph is here. Stefan, good to see you. Matthew Vincent, too many cards already. They are like tribbles. Not necessarily, because the cards can't reproduce by themselves. You have to go buy more. This deck comes with, if I did the math correctly, this pack comes with 104 cards. So you basically have 52 cards in each deck. You have a leader, a base, and 50 card decks for both of you. And then you also have these counters. You have a rule book, and then you have 2 playmats. The playmats, I do want to say, because it's pretty cool. The playmats are going to also, if you want to, you don't have to. I'm kind of a Star Wars nerd, so I might do this. But the playmats are also a poster on the other side. I think that's pretty freaking awesome. And then you have Vader on the other one, but I'm not going to take time to do all of that. Okay, it might be a great game. However, the look is very disappointing and just seems like a cash grab. I apologize for fans of the game. I guess I don't get animated wasn't expected. Okay. All right, Eric, here we go. Head to head. Fight. All right. The animated versions of the cards is one of the things that I actually really like about it. I'm not always a huge fan of screen grabs from the movies or from the shows or from whatever you're talking about. I do want to see artwork. And one of the cool things about this game is that each card has the artist's name on it, of the person that did the artwork. Now, here's the thing. There's a whole bunch of different people doing artwork for the game. Some of the artwork I like, some of the artwork I don't like. Some of the artwork is really, really good. Some of it is, it's all right. But generally speaking, if I'm just putting like a large coat over it, I really enjoyed the drawn artwork of the cards. It was refreshing from, having card games that are screen grabs. Now, here's the thing also. It might be recycled artwork that they've had in their coffers for years and years and years. I don't know. But I will say this, I think the game looks good. It looks clean. It doesn't look muddled. There isn't a whole crap ton of text all over the cards that I have to read through every time. They do use keywords. There are not a lot of keywords. That's also a plus. So the graphic design / artwork is going to be my first pro of the game. I actually really do like it. I like it a lot, actually. So I'll have to disagree with you, Eric. I apologize. But again, artwork is one of those things, and graphic design is one of those things that's a very subjective kind of thing. What works for one person and what draws one person in could be the very thing that pushes somebody away. So I think there's room for us to disagree, and it's all cool. But the artwork and the graphic design of the cards is one of the things that I actually really enjoyed on the right on the onset of me experiencing the game. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of neat. And with the Leia looks like Leia, but it's somebody's impression of Leia. Chewie looks like Chewie. I mean, long story short, the drawings of the X-Wings all look good. 3PO, come on, how can you get 3PO wrong? You can't. They didn't. So it's really cool. I like the comic book look of the artwork. I really do. So that's my first pro of the game. Second pro of the game, I've already kind of mentioned it, and that is the ease at which you can get into the game. How they have, I don't know if marketing it is the right word, but how they've set it up. They've set you up for success by what's in this two-player pack. And I really like that. I do. Because I think it helps people get into the game faster, which should be the one of the goals of a game company. Get people playing your games faster so that they don't have to slog through a 20, 30, 40 page rule book. Come on, we've all been there. But that's my second pro of the game. How well they packaged this starter deck to get you playing immediately. And then kind of piggybacking on that, the structure is super simple. I'm going to do something. You're going to do something. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. Or they're going to do something until we both pass. Then you go to a regroup phase. You put out a resource, which is a cool thing because you don't have to take an action to put a resource out. I love that. I really like that because I always kind of hated having to do that in other games, or I had to take one of my actions to generate more resources to do this. I never really liked that in games. So I'm glad that this game doesn't make you do that. So that was a good thing for me. My third pro of the game is going to be the brevity of it. It is not a long game. Matter of fact, this might be kind of a half pro, a half con, because some of the games that I've played were over super fast, mainly because one person was able to get units out that were able to kind of knock out everybody else, and then it was just pound the base. And at that point, there's not much that the other person can do about it. Unless they get a really cool card in their hand and they have the resources to pay for it, because usually those really cool cards are kind of resource reliant, pretty heavily so. So, maybe that could happen, but my general experience was that the game was usually over a lot faster than you were expecting it to be over. So maybe that has something to do with the with shorter attention spans. And that's what they think people that are going to want to play this game have. I don't know. But that's kind of a half pro, half con. It did play really fast, which means you can just pick it up and start all over again and play again. So you can get multiple games in there. But part of me wanted to have a longer experience. I usually only used at most half of the deck that was out there, and I was usually able to defeat my opponent, or my opponent was able to defeat me without using half of their deck. So why have 50 card decks if you only need 25 cards to defeat your opponents? Maybe some of the bases that are coming out later, and again, I don't know, I'm just talking about the starter decks. I haven't looked at anything else. Maybe some of the other bases are going to have more hit points or something to that effect. I really don't know. The point of this starter set is really just to kind of teach you the game and get you familiar with how it works. But I found that games are pretty fast. And the other side of that coin, though, is that sometimes they felt a little too fast. So that's another pro, but it's also one of my cons. So that's 3 pros so much and 1 con. And that's really going to be the extent of what I have to say about the starter decks. You know, there's... I mean, I can go through some of these cards and really kind of talk about them. So you have a whole bunch of different kinds of things like, you know, the Sentinels. One of the things that I do like the Sentinels. I guess that's another pro maybe, but I don't want to focus on just one keyword and have that be a pro. But they had a lot of different kinds of keywords. So I guess that will be the thing. There's not a whole lot of them, but like Saboteurs, Sentinels. Saboteurs will go through the person's defense when they attack a unit. You know, Sentinels, we saw that earlier. You have to attack them before you can attack the base. Rebel Pathfinder is really cool. Ambush. After you play this unit, it may ready and attack an enemy unit. So that's one of those things. And again, there's Han, and it doesn't really look like Han, but it looks like a comic book version of Han. So I like it. But Han can do ambush. So when you put when you deploy him, he comes out exhausted, but you can immediately ready him and attack. So that's pretty cool. There's groups that have healing cards and all that kind of stuff, and units that will help other friendly units get pluses and all of that kind of stuff. So, this one is pretty cool. Vigilant Honor Guards. It says, while this unit is undamaged, it gains Sentinel, but if you hit it, it no longer has Sentinel anymore. So that's a pretty cool thing. So I do like the keywords. I do like all of the different things that you can do with these different keywords. The action abilities, when played, when defeated. So for example, Obi-Wan Kenobi here, when he's defeated, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly unit. If it's a force unit, you also get to draw a card. So again, Luke got a little bit boisterous when he saw Obi-Wan go down. So that's a cool little thematic thing. Yoda, when this unit attacks, heal 2 damage for your base. So a restore 2 ability. But when defeated, choose any number of players and they each draw a card. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. There's just a lot of cool stuff about the game. It's not that I'm not like totally enamored with it, but it's really a fun game. So I guess my rating of the game here on the Flipside is going to be 1 strong thumb up. And let's see, will it do the thing for me? It does. There you go. Ka-ting. I think it's a fun game. And as far as the starter deck is concerned, if you have any interest whatsoever, make the small investment. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You know, if the artwork doesn't reach out to you, pass on it. You don't have to go out and get all the new stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if you're looking for a fun, thematically rich card game that has Star Wars as its IP, give the starter deck a try. Give the starter pack a try. Sit down with another person. See what you like. If you don't like it, you're out of just a little bit of money, and you don't have to do the deep dive like everybody else is doing. I'm definitely not a competitive card game player. Not at all. That's not my bag. So I'm super not going down that route with this. But the starter decks are something that's pretty cool, and I think I'll be safe. Definitely giving it one strong thumb up, and I did enjoy it a lot. So that's the entirety of my review. Sammy! Bob Rock is here. Good to see. Put him up, I say. Put him up. Come on, yo. Hey, watch Scream for me, Sarajevo already. You won't regret it. Bob, I'm so sorry. I will. I promise you, I will. Thank you for reminding me. Matthew Vincent says, Fantasy Flight has to compete with the better art in the deck building game. They are cannibalizing their own games. Well, that might too. Art is all new for Star Wars universe. Good. First Pro, wrong. Second Pro, agree. Ease of a TCG is good. Third Pro, brevity, good. I don't have to look at it for long. Wow, dude. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, brother. You open this can of worms by saying my opinion counts. You'll learn not to give me that length of rope. Again, what's the cost? I don't know what's the cost. Let's take a look. Let's take a look what the cost is. Let's see, what do we have here? Star Wars Unlimited. Let's do just a simple Google search. Shopping. Let's see, Spark of Rebellion, 2-player game, $24.95. $24.95 is, looks like, and that's at TCG Player. $26.99 at Gamers Guild AZ. $34.99 gather. So you definitely have people that are. Looks like there is a Shadows of the Galaxy 2-player starter as well. It's $35. I wonder what Amazon has it for. Amazon. Let's go with Amazon right there, and then go with Star Wars Unlimited. Boom. Oh, wow. They've got player mats and everything in here. I'm actually not seeing a whole lot. Oh, there we are. This doesn't have a price. Why doesn't it have a price? I have no idea, brother. Looks like around 25, 30 bucks for the starter deck, starter set. Wow, none of the Star Wars Unlimited stuff has prices on it. That's interesting. There's probably a reason for that. I'll put it to you this way. I was learning how to. I wanted to learn how to play Lorcana, and you have to learn. I want your money back. When I wanted to learn how to play Lorcana, I had to buy a couple of starter decks, and all of you guys know that Lorcana took off and was like super popular, and I am not proud of this. I'm actually kind of mad about it. I had to pay $50 each for a starter deck. So I paid $100 for 2 starter decks. At the very least, this is not going to be that. Now, you probably will not have to pay that kind of money again, and maybe I'm just stupid. I'll even take that on the chin and be fine with it. But it was back when Lorcana was, really buzzing, and people were really excited about it and paying out the nose for it. So it's me being stupid buying it at the wrong time. Star Wars Unlimited, it looks like you can get a hold of a 2-player starter deck, starter pack for $30, which is great in comparison, right? So doesn't look like it's going to be a whole lot of cash. So there you have it. I still give it 1 thumb up, even with the price being as it is, $25-30. I think that's actually a pretty viable price for a 2-player game. If you look at a lot of the other 2-player games, they're probably going to fall in that same kind of category, the new ones at least that are coming out. So take that for what it's worth. I think it's a great little game, and fear of missing out. Well, it wasn't fear of missing out for me. I was actually trying to learn how to, because I was asked to be a guest judge at a Lorcana tournament that I was going to, that was going to take place at a convention I was invited to go to. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to learn how to play this game. And so I was doing whatever I could to learn how to play the game. And unfortunately, I didn't have anybody here in town that had Lorcana decks that could teach me, so I bought them. So it wasn't really me of a fear of missing out. It was me trying to learn how to play the game so that I could be this. It turned out that I wasn't even a judge, because I didn't have enough knowledge about the game in order to be the judge. And the guy that was running the tournament was okay with it, didn't worry about it or anything like that. But me and JT were supposed to come in and be guest judges, and we were just like, I don't know if you want us doing that, because we're just not that great at it. So that's how it is. I got halfway through a game of Ivian before realizing 2-player card battling lifestyle games are not for me. I still have a couple versions of Netrunner if I change my mind. Please do a Lorcana review. I'd be interested. I got rid of it because it's so far out of my wheelhouse, and it was so expensive. I knew I wasn't going to buy anything else, so I actually gave the 2 starter decks that I gave them away to a buddy of mine at Love Thy Nerd, Matt, because he's totally into it, and I was just like, well, here, have this. And so I mailed it off to him. So I can't do a Lorcana review anymore, and I wouldn't want to either. There's probably a lot of differences, especially if you're a CCGer or a TCGer, but there's no reason for me to play Lorcana when this exists. Because, in my opinion, it feels very samey as far as all of that kind of stuff, using resources or ink in Lorcana, paying ink to put those things out, paying resources to put those things out, and all that kind of stuff. It feels very samey to me. So there's no reason for me to play Lorcana when this exists, because it's very much the same level of play, probably the same level of cards, synergies, and all of that kind of stuff. But this IP is much, much better. And I know Disney, I get it. Disney owns Star Wars. I know. But this IP is much more compatible to me as a person than Lorcana, which is, all the other stuff that Disney has. Your opinion is still interesting. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So I gave you my opinion on Lorcana. If it's between Lorcana and Star Wars Unlimited, no brainer. So that's a little, there's my review of Lorcana. How's that? So yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, that's about it. It's been about an hour. That's about my stopping point. So I want to thank you guys and gals for joining me. I want to say how much I appreciate you being here. Come on back tomorrow for our solo mode gaming in the afternoon. I'll have that scheduled this evening, and we'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care. Oh, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, come back for more. We want you to stick around and be a subscriber here on the flip side. So hit those like buttons and those follow bar button thingies, and click that bell icon as well. I'm such an idiot. Take care, everyone. See you on the flip side. Bye-bye. And TI4.